The Galactic Coalition medical frigate Zenith's Hope hummed with the sterile efficiency that characterized most interspecies healthcare facilities. Dr. Vex Thorian, a Quellit physician whose forearms moved with practiced precision, reviewed the latest patient charts on his holographic display. The pediatric ward had been overwhelmed lately. A respiratory virus had swept through the younger crew members, leaving dozens of alien children in various states of misery. Among them was Rennick, a small Karathi cub whose normally vibrant blue fur had dulled to a sickly gray. His large, luminescent eyes, usually full of mischief, were half-closed as he lay curled in the medical pod, his breathing shallow and labored. The Karathi were a hardy species, evolved on a high-gravity world, but their young were surprisingly vulnerable to cross-species pathogens encountered in space travel. His fever hasn't broken in 3 cycles, Nurse Palax reported, her antennae drooping with concern. The standard antivirals aren't working as quickly as they should. He's refusing the nutrient paste. Dr. Vex Thorian clicked his mandibles in frustration. This was the 5th case this week that wasn't responding to conventional treatment. The children weren't in danger, but they were profoundly uncomfortable, and nothing seemed to lift their spirits enough to encourage recovery. That's when Myra Lorne walked into the medical bay. The human medical consultant had only been aboard for 2 months, part of Earth's cultural exchange program with the Coalition. She was shorter than most species on the ship, with dark hair pulled back in a practical bun and eyes that seemed to notice everything. She'd been assigned to observe Coalition medical practices, but Vex Thorian had found her insights. Surprisingly valuable humans had a strange knack for unconventional solutions. Myra stopped at Rennick's pod, her expression softening. "Poor little guy," she murmured, reaching out to gently stroke the cub's head. Rennick's ear twitched weakly at her touch. "The antivirals are working, but slowly," Vex Thorian explained. "He needs rest and nutrition, but he won't consume anything we offer." Myra frowned, then suddenly brightened. "Has anyone tried comfort food?" "Comfort ... food?" The doctor's translator struggled with the concept. "Yeah, something warm and familiar that makes you feel better emotionally as much as physically." She looked down at Rennick. "When I was a kid and got sick, my grandmother always made chicken soup. There's actually science behind it. The warm broth, the nutrients, the anti-inflammatory properties, but honestly, half of healing is feeling cared for." Vex Thorian's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "You believe emotional support affects physical recovery?" "I know it does," Myra smiled. "Let me try something." "I need access to the galley." 2 hours later, the entire medical bay had stopped their work. The aroma was unlike anything the alien staff had encountered. It wafted through the ventilation system, savory, rich, with notes of herbs that the ship's atmospheric sensors couldn't quite classify. Dr. Vex Thorian found himself following his olfactory organs toward the source, along with half the medical team. In the staff break room, Myra stood over a portable heating unit with a large pot. She stirred the contents carefully, tasting from a small spoon before nodding in satisfaction. "What is that extraordinary scent?" Nurse Pelax whispered, her antennae fully extended and quivering. "Chicken soup," Myra replied simply. "Earth recipe passed down in my family. I had to substitute a few ingredients. The replicator's chicken is actually some kind of Terran-cultivated protein, and I used Altarian herbs instead of thyme, but it's close enough." She ladled the golden liquid into a small bowl, bits of protein and vegetables visible in the broth. Steam rose invitingly. "This is for Rennick. If it works, I can make more." The gathered medical staff watched in fascination as Mira carried the bowl to the Karathi cub's pod. She sat beside him, gently lifting his head. "Hey, buddy. I made you something special." Rennick's nose twitched. His eyes opened slightly wider. The aroma seemed to penetrate his illness-induced lethargy. "It's warm and it'll make you feel better," Myra coaxed, bringing a spoonful to his mouth. "Just try a little." The cub lapped tentatively, then again with more enthusiasm. Within minutes, he'd consumed half the bowl, more sustenance than he'd taken in 2 days. His eyes brightened noticeably. "Remarkable," Dr. Vex Thorian breathed. But the real surprise came over the next hour. Word of Myra's healing brew spread through the medical bay. Other sick children began asking for it. Parents inquired. Even adult patients recovering from various ailments wanted to try the mysterious human concoction. By the end of the shift, Myra had made 3 more pots. "The biochemical analysis is fascinating," Dr. Vex Thorian told her as they reviewed the data. The compound interactions create mild anti-inflammatory effects. The warm temperature soothes respiratory passages. The proteins provide easily digestible nutrients, but there's something else. The patients who consume it show elevated levels of oxytocin and decreased cortisol. They're literally less stressed. Myra smiled. Like I said, comfort food. It's not just about the medicine. It's about feeling cared for. Within a week, every child in the pediatric ward had recovered. Rennick was back to his mischievous self, his fur bright blue and glossy. But something unexpected happened. The ship's chief medical officer had formally requested that Myra's recipe be added to the Coalition's medical database. We've cataloged it as Lawrence Therapeutic Nutritional Suspension, Vex Dorian explained. His mandibles arranged in what Myra had learned was a smile. We're distributing it to medical facilities across the Coalition. You're putting chicken soup in the official apothecary? Myra laughed. We're putting your chicken soup in the apothecary, he corrected. Along with the recommendation that it be administered with what you call bedside manner. Apparently, we've been overlooking the therapeutic value of emotional comfort. News spread quickly. Within months, medical facilities across 12 sectors were requesting the recipe. Research teams studied its effects. Universities published papers on the intersection of nutrition and emotional care. The simple act of making sick children feel cared for revolutionized pediatric treatment protocols throughout the Galactic Coalition. And it all started because one human woman believed that healing required more than just medicine, it required heart. Retriclod can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.